So I'm feeling that right here. That's what I'm saying. Well, it's exactly. You got a good spot right here.
Yeah.
We're all set.
No, never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
People heard of it.
All right, hello, Steamworky, Startup Grindy, 1 Million Cupsy people in Santa Clarita. Good to see all of you guys. I'm glad we were able to assemble such a robust group of people interested in Google Analytics tonight. I'm Tanya Mullery, the founder of Steamwork Center, and also the director of Startup Grind Santa Clarita. If you aren't already on those lists, then please, and you're interested in getting involved in the startup community, we really do want to make sure we keep in touch with you. So follow Steamwork Center, follow Startup Grind Santa Clarita, follow 1 Million Cup Santa Clarita. We've got a lot of good events going on all the time that are aiming to enrich your lives as entrepreneurs and connect you to resources in the community that you probably didn't know about. Now, looking around this room, I know 65 to 70% of you, and I know that you're all up to ridiculously cool projects. You're starting businesses, you're starting blogs, you're starting nonprofits, you're working for bigger companies, and you're all here and you're curious about what you can do to track your customer journey better. And so when I got connected through our Startup Grind network to Michael Carney, and I discovered that he actually lives here in Santa Clarita, and any excuse to leave Playa Vista early to come out and talk to you guys, I was like, well, we have to set this up. So without further ado, I want to welcome Michael Carney, and we can't wait to learn from you. If you haven't picked up the handout, you may want to. It's in the back. It looks like this, and it'll be easier to follow along with the presentation if you have it. So feel free to get up and do that. And
Cool.
Michael,
Right.
the clicker
Oh,
and
yeah.
the stage are all yours.
Hey everyone. So yes, Tanya mentioned I work with Google. I'm a senior account strategist. Work out of our Playa Vista campus at the old Spruce Goose Hangar. You all are more than welcome to stop by if you ever want to check out the space for lunch or coffee. But you know, as Tanya mentioned, I kind of live in this world within digital, right? Just whether it's digital advertising through Google or understanding through just the digital ecosystem like Google Analytics. This is kind of what I live and breathe every day. I'm really excited to be here. As Tanya mentioned, I'm from Santa Clarita myself, born and raised. So a little bit more background on me. I recently moved back to Santa Clarita in LA about a year ago. I was up in the Bay Area for almost 5 years. I've been with Google now over 6 years, working, like I mentioned, in the digital acquisition / advertising end, right? So my role at Google is partnering with, say, mid-market tier types of brands, right? I think you'll be familiar with some like Postmates, and some of those kind of fast-growing types of companies. So I partner with them on their digital marketing, advertising, whatever you want to call it. And something I've started to notice and really partnering with a lot of these fast-growing, say, startups or local businesses founded by like local founders, is that there can be a little bit of lack of education around Google, right? When you think of Google, you think of so many different things. It could be Google Maps, it could be just search, right? And I've gotten a lot of feedback around that, right? So, Google sounds amazing, but your tools are super complex. Our tools like AdWords, right, for advertising, it's kind of like drinking out of a fire hose, right? So it's, I always joke, it's really for engineers because it's built by engineers, and so it can seem a little daunting. And for me, as working with Tanya and some other local startup groups down here, really wanted to provide better support. This is all just volunteering, after hours types of things. She mentioned anytime I can get out of the Playa Vista office and beat that 405 traffic, I definitely jump at the chance. But what I'd love to leave everyone with, it's kind of a mixture of things, right? So if you're just getting started and understanding like what digital is, digital acquisition, how does Google Analytics kind of fit into there, and then also through the two-sheeter, if you are more new the analytics journey, what kind of key reports from the Google perspective do we like to give guidance on? Like, these are some valuable reports, these are some good insights that you can follow. So like I mentioned, I love working with startups, early stage startups, especially, right? So if you're kind of going through your first seed round, you're maybe looking at Series A, you're raising. I've gotten a lot more involved in kind of mentoring local startups in the LA area. And we don't even talk about advertising, to be honest. We just talk about like what's your funnel look like, what's your acquisition strategy. That I think is going to be much more valuable than, hey, how much can you spend with Google? How much can you spend with Facebook? You know, it's advertising's great, but if you don't have a good structure, if you don't have a site and you're tracking everything properly, and that really foundation, it's not really going to help at the end of the day, right? So how can we kind of equip everyone with kind of understanding your funnel, understanding your business objectives, right? What are your business objectives? What are you really trying to measure? What's going to be successful for you, and how are you going to report that and look at that daily? That's really what's going to help you in the long run. So I'm a big sports fan, big Dodgers fan. I went to school, actually college in New Orleans, so I'm a Saints fan. Do like the Rams, but I'm not sure if anyone's football related. We'll see how they do this year after the NFC Championship. But do want to jump in and just really dive right in, right? So measurement has become such a hot topic in conversation. Sorting out like just the digital ecosystem should be a priority for everyone, right? Just industry wide. I work with, like I mentioned, so many partners, believe it or not, that are growing brands that are spending significantly with Google and they don't have a good, foundation for reporting set up, right? And so when you're asking them, hey, what are your business objectives? What's your year-over-year revenue goals look like? What are your sales targets? And believe it or not, a lot of times they get tripped up. They don't know. They're like, oh, well, we need to hit this acquisition cost, right? It can be some very arbitrary targets that don't always add up, to be honest. And so, again, just having a proper measurement, having reporting in place, that's going to be number one. So, and let me actually take a step back. Who's familiar with analytics, utilizing maybe other reporting and measurement tools besides analytics? Does anyone? Perfect. Okay, awesome. So yeah, so some of this may be familiar too for folks that are a little bit more down the advanced road with analytics, but I'm sure we can all attest like reporting and how we actually look at things from different channels, whether it's organic, how is someone finding me organically by just typing in something and clicking, like that's going to be really important. So how measurement enables business growth. I really look at it in three different buckets, right? So one, it helps you establish a source of truth. You are able to derive insights from that truth and that data, and then you're able to put those insights to use. Like I mentioned, with a lot of partners I work with, we do a lot of different types of testing. We do a lot of experimentation, right? You want to try a different funnel approach for your business or your website, right? Being able to derive insights from that type of data and then use it to ultimately make better and more informed decisions around what strategy you might ultimately go with for your site. That's so critical and that's so important. So over 2.5 times sales growth over a 3-year period for businesses that integrated multiple customer, and I'm going to exclude marketing and just data sources compared to peers, right? So being able to, again, have that foundation for your business, and we'll go deeper into analytics too and actually see kind of, what that looks like in reporting, how you can measure that and whatnot. But we cannot stress, hey, if it's not analytics and it's just your own internal kind of reporting or your own internal measurement platform that you're using, that's going to get you so much farther than, right? Like, oh, I think I got 5 calls today, 5 sales, right? I'm kind of just growing that way. Having a good foundation there is going to be really important. So I really like to look at and just taking even a step back. What are you trying to achieve online, right? Are you even targeting online? Do you see your business growing online, right? I'd be curious too to just even taking a step back of folks that have their own website and they're kind of managing, kind of a show of hands, who has their own site, kind of managing things. Maybe it's like through a lead form, it's just general information. Anyone out there? Okay. Yeah. So quite a bit, right? So I think one thing that's just key and number one, and something that I stress with my partners that I work with daily is just what are your business objectives? What are your key business objectives? What website actions communicate success to you. So folks that did raise your hand, is it submitting something through the site? Is it a phone call? Is it buying something as a retailer? Anyone out there want to jump in? Volunteer. Yeah.
When they check out.
When they check out.
Yeah, or like especially and also when like I see people with a higher time on page. Like
Yeah.
I have some pages that perform at like 7 minutes time on page, and then I have some that perform at like 30 seconds. But that's also I have 7 minutes SEO on one, but like 15, 20 seconds of SEO on the other. So
Got it.
But I mean, if I can read through it and they're on the page by amount of time, I think that's successful.
Yeah.
Because they're actually paying attention to the information we're providing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you use analytics or your own kind of other reporting?
I use analytics. I use SpyFu. I plug in SpyFu like once every other month just to see kind of where I'm ranking against competitors.
Yeah.
And then I'm trucking along with Search Console, but to be honest, I don't like Search Console.
I know. Yeah. I was in a meeting last week with a partner that asked me to provide more insight into Search Console. And,
yeah. I mean, I get it simplified, but it's different. But anyway, that's a different topic. But yeah, that's how I find it. I've used Ahrefs like once. That's cool. Or was it no. SEMrush, sorry. SEMrush. I've used that once, but it's kind of pricey. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is that kind of price? Because I know analytics is free, right? But are these other kind of price?
SpyFu is like $30 to $80 a month, depending on what package you get, and then SEMrush is like $250 a fee. It's not cheap, so we decided to try it once, and then I saw like it's great, but SpyFu is close enough, so
That's great. So so you're way farther along. You're an advanced level.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, for real. Like I said, a lot of partners I work with, not to name names, but it's analytics and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So having a lot of, like I mentioned, not to be a broken record, but the more kind of reporting you can get from maybe not just within analytics, but in general, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I mean, none of it lines up. I mean, it's slightly to line up here and there, but like I even just started a new live chat app yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm getting information on live chat where it's starting a chat with someone, and then analytics is saying that there's nobody on the website on that page, but I'm getting responses from live chat from the person. So I'm kind of like, what's happening here? So just kind of incongruencies like that.
Got it.
It's not registering those the chat is to
Yeah, I'm not sure. It literally happened this morning. Okay. So I have notes on it I can share with you. Like to.
Yeah, no, but I'm not to get too far, but I'm definitely my contact info because I would love feedback too from everyone. I'm trying to prove out a model for how we can engage with more local markets like Santa Clarita being one. Talking with Tanya, there's just so much going on. I think it's Santa Clarita, to be honest, and being able to bubble that feedback up, right? Of what you're seeing as a local founder or local startup is critical because at Google we're everything's scaled, right? How can we get everything to mass market? But these types of things like live chat is reporting analytics, like those are the little details that also need to be bubbled up to the teams as well. So I think I hope that any other Googler folks you meet that they do take that feedback. I take it very seriously. Like I said, I've been so long enough that that's what ultimately helps you guys scale and things like that. So check out, right? Anyone else that kind of, is it like maybe a form that someone submits or anything else that you're kind of tracking? Any volunteers?
A lead form submission for our
Yeah.
So when they submit the form, that's when we know like that's solid. It's a solid conclusion.
Yeah, that's awesome. And some folks even have, this is another world too, is apps, right? Apps are a big thing. I'm sure folks are probably seeing the news right now with Google Play and apps and Google taking a pretty significant cut of any kind of apps downloads and whatnot. But kind of in my side, we see kind of a mixture, right? So Postmates, they directly advertise on your site, but they also run an app as well. With a little bit more detail too of how you can kind of splice that in analytics and create different types of ways to look at the reporting and whatnot. We talked about lead forms, checkout. Those are just different actions that can contribute to what you're ultimately trying to move towards in terms of your revenue goals, your obviously sales goals. And then again, just set up and utilizing analytics to report on your key metrics and your key business. And So a little bit more context on me. So I actually work with and partner with e-commerce / retail brands. So I love that feedback. I'd love to pick your brain more on, what you're seeing. So for me, this is kind of like, again, what I live and breathe every day, right? Just a specific funnel, digital, right? I really like to break it out into kind of 3 stages. Partners I talk to, and breaking down from position, right? You're building awareness. You're getting someone maybe to your site. You're generating that user interest, right? So whether that's through Google, someone goes to google.com, they type in a certain keyword. I always like to use like very simple, oh, hey, I'm looking for a local plumber or something, right? That's just generating interest and getting a click there. But then digging a little bit deeper, your behavior, right? Actually, when is your user engaging with your business? When are they submitting your form, right? When are they clicking on that certain page to interact? And then the conversion, right? So conversion just being when your user actually becomes a customer through a form, purchase, and then transacts with your business. And this is something that we can go a little bit deeper within analytics. This is something you can actually set up too. It's like a multi-step funnel. As you get a little bit more advanced and seeing like where's the drop off, right? Where's the leaks? As you're starting to test different strategies, different acquisition strategies, right? Like where are your customers falling off? Like I love this because it keeps it very simple but clear as to, right, who's moving down this funnel and actually becoming, whether it's a paying customer, a lead, etc. It's always going to be important. And providing some examples too, right? It's great to talk very high level, but actually when you're doing a certain action, right? Maybe again, this is my world with e-commerce, so it's going to be a little bit more of that. If you're publicizing something, say like, oh, I'm publicizing a book reading or publicizing, a webinar, just something that I want folks to read, right? Actually creating a step-by-step approach to see, okay, what's my objective there? Is it just increasing awareness, attendance at this book reading online? What's my goals? Providing clear, complete, specific actions of that page, and then also your KPIs and targets, right? So as you called it out, is it Hayden?
Yes.
Yeah. So to your point around like, how long are they spending on my site, right? Are they interacting with it? Are they searching on it? What's the bounce rate, right? Bounce rate being like, if I get someone to that site, like, are they jumping off right off the way? Are they interacting further with it? How long are they spending on my site, right? What's the average look like? Those types of things can really help you get a sense too of like, if I'm driving a ton of people to the specific landing page, but they're not going past that, they're not engaging, they're maybe not searching further, they have a high exit rate, like those types of things are really going to give you a better indication of, okay, maybe I need to tweak this a bit, or maybe I need to test a different like A/B kind of test approach to see if a different type of landing page rates maybe resonates a bit better. You're saying you can kind of see like a little bit more of a step-by-step approach of how you're gonna really ultimately work. And then again, my favorite, because this is what I deal with every day. Just I'm looking to sell, whether it's I always go back to selling a widget or just selling something in general. Our objective is growing certain purchases, goals, driving traffic through paid. It doesn't have to just be paid search, it can be through other means. What's your KPIs too, right? So is it conversion rate, how many people are clicking and then ultimately buying? What's the actual average order value, right? So especially as a lot of growing types of startups that I work with, over time, they're going to really need to focus on retention too, right? So what's the average order value? Like, are they coming back? Are they repurchasing? Those are types of things that are critical for sustaining the business now, not just acquiring new customers. But hey, we need to acquire like Facebook to acquire quickly and scale this. But if no one sticks around and comes back and buys again, ultimately you'll see that this probably won't last very long. And then your targets, right? So are we looking for a certain conversion rate, right? Or a certain sales rate? Typically in the world I live in with e-com, 3 to 4% sales rate is what we're shooting for and what we see that ultimately profitable. Actually, believe it or not, across the board is what we typically advise. If folks are achieving that higher, which I'm sure other folks are, then that's fantastic. And then, what's again average order value? Who's coming back? Are they buying again? what over time, what's their lifetime value, right? And how can we continue to bring those customers? How can we maybe segment those customers out so that they do stick around, they do keep on it. So what is Google Analytics, right? So I've talked a lot about digital marketing, digital acquisition, understanding digital, right? So simply put, what is Google Analytics? Google Analytics is simply just a free platform that allows you to see your website traffic. Very simple, right? You can understand who's coming to your website and how they interact, like we talked about. You can assign credit to get a little bit more advanced if you're running certain digital types of acquisition strategies, whether it's Facebook, Google, Instagram, all these other kind of paid solutions. Assigning credit to those different channels and driving actual engagement and measuring that engagement, and then taking out insights with continuous testing and optimizing around those channels. So I mean, you start getting a little bit more, like I mentioned, advanced, like with, we're actually testing paid marketing or digital marketing, whatever you want to call it. I think one big thing from my side is just continuing to test, right? Not getting, I guess, used to what you're seeing, because a lot of partners that I work with, they ultimately have to keep optimizing their strategies over time, right? Year over year, numbers won't always look the same. Believe it or not, like certain spaces, they have disruptors that come in and completely change the market. And it's important to utilize tools like analytics to really understand, again, where are leaks in your funnel, who's coming from where, right? Kind of using those insights to tweak your strategy as you go. And then, again, helping you answer important business questions, right? So how are users engaging with my site? Are they visiting a certain page but not other pages? Are they searching for information? Are they searching for certain products? How can I make, any type of campaign I'm running more effective, as well as how am I creating like effective content, right? So we talk about blogs, right? How are we continuing to get folks to spend whatever the average amount of time is, or over that amount of time, right? How can we create engaged users and audiences? Where are my users entering and exiting the site? And how do I just simply put improve my site experience, right? So again, one area that I really find interesting is mobile, right? Our cell phones, we all have phones nowadays. And from what I've seen in a lot of businesses I work with, just how quickly does my site load? How quickly does a page load, right? Is it taking 5 seconds to load? Is it taking 10 seconds to load? Is it, believe it or not, even 1 second is too slow for certain customers. Yeah.
Sorry, did you just switch to mobile first indexing? Was that analytics that did that, or was that?
That's a good question. I would say mobile first index. I may
On
not.
the search side.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's something too that actually, if we're talking about certain channels like digital acquisition that our system will actually look for how quickly does your page load, right? What's the site speed? If it's taking a certain amount of time to load, how does that actually influence where you're even placed in like an auction and whatnot? So at the end of the day, it's just about creating a better user experience, and you can use a lot of free resources to say, okay, hey, your site's taking 10 seconds to load, and compared to your industry, that's way too long. And you're actually losing, maybe over a quarter of your sales because of it. Like I said, working with a lot of retail brands, if the page takes 2 seconds to load, you've lost probably a quarter of your users. So we all want things instantaneously now, and we want to have like that lightning fast. Want to be able to purchase right off the bat, make it seamless. I don't want to scroll to the very bottom to find something. I want to click right away to book, to purchase. Analytics can really help with uncovering that, along with other useful resources too, like Test My Site with Google is a really good one too that I recommend. And then, yeah, going back to just the value proposition of Google Analytics, right? Really looking at it and breaking it out into kind of 4 main buckets. So discovering new opportunities, understanding trends, your customers, messaging even, improving your product or your service offering, right? So maybe testing like a discount on one page or certain discount on another or whatnot. Testing new products if you go into market and you're expanding your product now. Enhancing the user experience, right? So how do I make my landing pages more compelling? How do I improve like the buying process? And then just again improving your tactics, not just on marketing, but how do I optimize better for whether it's positioning within Google search and in the auction and other areas, or how am I getting just kind of better placement across other channels? That's really where I use analytics kind of daily with a lot of my partners. So diving a bit deeper now into the setup, right? An actual, here's what an ideal maybe like account looks like within analytics, just seeing some specific ways you can look at the data and look at certain views. I look at it kind of like a different kind of setup and approach, but when you're looking at a view, right? So you have your account. That's my Google Analytics account, right? But then if you want to go a little bit deeper and have like maybe a subset or want to create different views, meaning, hey, I've got my website right here, I have an app I'm running here, and then I have other kind of areas I want to test. That's how I really like to look at it, of creating different filtered types of things, right? If you want to test different reports, myshootfloor.com, that's our property, and then these different filters and also create for, like I said, oh, I have an app too I want to see a specific view for, and just seeing different views and different data from the view section. And then if you delete a view, which we'll go into a little bit more, just want to make sure you don't, because then that data is not forever, but we'll go in a little bit more like setup. And again, like a lot of my partners, believe it or not, only have just property setup. They don't even have to use too. So kind of learning as well, like, hey, if you want to create, test different things, then breaking it out a little bit further can really help. So it's really simple to just create a view, honestly.
I can't believe all that actually worked when I changed it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
We could try that.
I know. So we've gotten very good with Google Slides of actually having animation in here, so it's exciting for me. It's a lot of times we don't actually get this kind of actual step-by-step guide.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, worked out perfect. So yeah, creating a view and then just different practices for right? So you have your raw data view, and just to get a little bit more in the weeds, again, I'm hopeful that the reporting, some of these things can be takeaways as well. You do dive a little bit deeper in analytics. But for here, what we'll just focus on is the recommended, right? So your raw data view, that's just your data, right? Just nothing, not creating any kind of special reports or anything. It's just everything raw. And then a master view is where you can go and look towards for, hey, I do have some different reports in here now. And then testing views, right? Just I want to test, like I want to see reporting for just my app, or I want to see reporting just for my site. Those are some of the easier kind of ways you can bucket it. And then for, you can, part of it, but these are more optional. And then one other thing too, is we get a little bit more into analytics. This is one thing that, believe it or not, I run into a lot of troubleshooting with, is just making sure you're actually setting up the right time zones and currency even. Believe it or not, a lot of my partners pick a completely different market than where they're trying to report from, and then having to actually make that change. It's
I
tough.
think I got stuck in Afghanistan or something
Yeah.
one time by accident.
I know, no,
Because it's at the top of the list.
I know. So sometimes, I'm trying to set up pretty quickly, and I pick a currency or a view or a time zone that's not working. Right.
So if people give a card, can we send the slides to them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
So instead of having to take pictures, if you give me a card at the end, I'll email it.
yeah, and this is all external too. I was mentioning it's not proprietary, it's confidential. Like all this is just helpful, right? External kind of resources. And yeah, happy to share this with everyone. And then, again, wouldn't work for Google if I didn't add that. Here's advertising and how you do the reporting side for your customers. This essentially is just, hey, I want to collect a little bit more information on, say, my demographics. That's one part we haven't talked about as much. Is I want to see a breakdown, say, 18 to 24, 25 to 34. Who's my demo? Where are those leads coming from? Believe it or not, you don't have to use that. You can see that kind of view and that detailed demographic view in itself within analytics, because, hey, your demo or the demo you think that is going to convert may not actually convert for you, and you may find. I've talked to a lot of local businesses that say, oh, 18 to 24, that's our target market, and then they find out actually, believe it or not, the higher the average order value, the higher the lifetime value is actually coming from the next demo over 25 to 34, right? If you don't actually utilize some of these reportings, you kind of miss out on those learnings too. So just something simple, but like I said, it doesn't have to go into advertising. Let's just track, where your sales are coming from, who they're coming from, where they're coming from, geographic too. Those are always going to be super helpful.
So you recommend turning that toggle on even if you're not running ads?
Yep.
Michael?
Yeah.
And these views are basically like a SQL query that the user can go in and sort of figure out and set up our own queries.
Sorry, run that by me.
The views that you were talking about.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I think it's just like a basic query.
Yes,
You
basically.
create your own raw
Exactly.
data pools
Exactly,
and
yeah.
you make reports out of it.
Exactly. So yeah, so being able to create a different view, play with it a little bit, and like I said, it's a lot of times, and don't mind me, some of the partners I work with have multiple views already set up, right? But if you're just getting started, I recommend like 3 views, right? Like raw data, the master view, and then a testing view. That's really pretty much it. Some other things on the tracking setup side as well. This is another area, just a little bit more behind the scenes, that I run into almost daily, is tracking, right? Did I set up my analytics account properly? Am I actually measuring everything properly? To your point around if I'm using a chat, but it's not showing up in analytics, and then we have to troubleshoot that and dive deeper. The turnaround on that can take a lot of time, and we have a lot of really good tracking sources, right? So is anyone familiar with Google Tag Manager or use Google Tag Manager at all? Show of hands. Awesome. That's great. So Tag Manager / Assistant can just give you this, right? So if you have tracking any types of pixels or kind of code on your site, this will actually give you a view from the Google side of, are there issues, technical issues going on with any of those pixels that you have on. So a lot of times it's probably not going to be green for some partners. It's mostly red, right? You have to troubleshoot. And I always tell folks I work with, hey, I'm fortunately not as familiar. We have teams that can help with that. And some of the other basic ones that can utilize is just Google Tag Assistant, which is just a kind of an extension, Chrome extension you can download. You can see this drop down and say, okay, for this example, take out global site type, we'll just say analytics, green, good, smiley face, that's perfect, red, frowny face, okay, and then we can actually see a drop down of what's going on. Again, this is a little bit, I would stress to have your development team or your web developer, they should definitely be able to help if you're seeing the red and saying, okay, like what's going on kind of underneath the hood there. And then analytics tracker for just understanding any kind of snippets of code. We have a lot of really good help center articles on how to install tag and analytics and make sure it's firing properly. But like I said, I am not an expert in this world, but I still use this every day to say, okay, my partner just mentioned that our tracking of a specific page is not firing correctly, right? Like we drove 10 leads today, but we're only just seeing 5. Okay, let me use the tag assistant. Okay, if you're only reporting this, what's technically going on, right? Like what's going on? Okay. And then this is getting a little bit further down the line, but if you do want to set up goals, if you do want to see transactions and measure those sales, again, you don't need AdWords to do this. You don't need advertising to do this. You can set up just specific goals and then see those goals and what's going on in your analytics account, right? So these are sort of the 4 basic goals that I work with partners and I reference, right? So someone reaching a specific page, if it's someone spending a certain amount of time on your site, if it's someone actually clicking on a little button. We'll go in a little bit on the event side, and then someone's visiting a certain amount of pages per session, right? If they're to your site, I want them, I'm just getting started, and I want them to maybe do a little bit more of my content, read some of these pages. Well, then I want to focus on how long are they spending? Are they going past pages? So these are really the 4 basic buckets, and going a little bit deeper. Okay, so destination. Do I have a thank you page, right? Do I have a confirmation page? Are they actually reaching that page? Am I setting up a goal for them to actually see that page on my analytics end? Duration. Are they spending? Anyone that spends more than 10 minutes, that's awesome. I would say that's a very valuable customer. They're highly engaged. Measuring the duration, and then the events, right? So a lot of partners I work with in retail, they don't actually, believe it or not, have a thank you page. It's just one click, it'll maybe a pop-up window. Thank you so much for purchasing, and that's technically an event. That's actually not someone there. You'll notice there's no thank you page that they're actually reaching. And then the pages per session. So again, if it's more of a, I'm just getting started, I'm maybe writing a blog, or I'm just creating more of an informational type of site. Are they visiting? Hey, I have 5 pages altogether on my site. Are they more than 2, or right? What's the average look like? And using that to just determine if they're interested, right? And then actual setup goals and how you go about it within Google Analytics. Very simple. Again, wish we had more of what thing, and I can actually, if it works, I could show and go in an analytics account myself and show everyone like a test account, but it's a way to see a setup a goal in here. It really hasn't changed even from this this view, but like I mentioned, like tracking important certain types of metrics. How long are they spending on your site? Are they downloading even like a white paper, a case study, right, from your, a lot of times I work with lead generation types of clients where they have like a white paper, a webinar that they want someone to view. Leads are especially important, and then different ways to actually track your goals. Are they visiting the specific URL? Are they getting to that confirmation page? Are they spending over the amount of time visiting over a certain number of pages, or just clicking the button? Just as a follow-up on the actual clicking on a button to check out, that does require a little bit of additional coding. We don't have to talk about that. We can talk about that in another section slash session. But these are, again, kind of the 4 main buckets: destination, duration, pages per session, format. Those are really the 4 main goals that partners that I work with. Curious too if there's any other. This is obviously not a full exhaustive list of different business metrics, but are there other ones that folks that have used analytics use to measure that, to evaluate, like, hey, this is going well, this is working? I'm always fascinated too, and would love to hear if there's unique ones that maybe I'm looking into. Yes. Yeah.
So we had a landing page that was promoting an app, right? And so
Yeah.
we had to set up download links for the App Store and for Google Play. And, we wanted to know when they would click on that so that we knew that they were going from our site to the download page in the app stores.
Oh, okay.
And so that's not on your list, but it was
Yeah.
a little tricky because it was harder to do advertising against those
Got it.
goals as well.
Yeah, and then importing them back to actually
Mhm.
get that deal. That's a good one. Like I mentioned, social too. Like we're running like a social campaign, so sometimes hard to see in an analytics view. Any other? Yeah.
So Constant Contact has some pretty good reporting tools. When I go, I'll look at those, and I'll look at my analytics, cross-reference. Say, 500 people opened it, but there was only like an average of like 20 seconds on the page when it was like a 3-minute article or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can kind of use information information from other places and kind of put them side by side and see where it lines up, what you can improve on, not improve on, things like that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. One other one too that I find that a little separate from the Google Analytics side is like a sale that happens over the phone, even, right? Like that's you know something, especially if you have a customer that's calling in, that's actually a lead that's turning into a sale. Analytics too, believe it or not, doesn't even oftentimes track that. So there's a whole other component. The only reason I bring that up is because we're finding a lot of times that's where the majority of leads or sales can come from, right? For a lead generation type of business. So yeah, so to that theme around, there's not analytics is one channel, but there's multiple other ways you can splice it, put the data together. We call it offline tracking, right? So someone places an order over the phone, or they call in or request a quote. That's for another day when we talk about AdWords or other
Right.
types of traffic. But like I said, this is not an exhaustive list, and I'm always curious if there's other creative ways that you're finding customers besides some of these. I'd say basic, but still like fundamental. And then yeah, so actually just setting up the goal within analytics, right? So tracking like a micro or macro kind of conversion, specifying what kind of goal it is you want to measure, whether it's the destination, whether it's spending a certain amount of time on the site, visiting a certain number of pages, or clicking on, say, like the play button on the video that you have on the internet. It'd be critical to someone understanding the business a little bit better. It's really, believe it or not, really simple to set up before. Sure, folks that utilize analytics can tell you. Mine is maybe the event one, which requires a few additional steps. These are super easy to set up, take you less than but it's always important to have those set up because you want to, when you do launch your site, you want to be able to measure that from. And then just a little bit deeper into, like I mentioned earlier, calling out, like setting up an actual funnel to see, okay, here's the steps I want them to actually go through when I'm setting up a goal, right? When, again, I'm a retail brand, I want them to go to checkout to cart, to add in their shipping information, to payment, and then confirmation or verification, and being able to measure that within analytics there, and then the actual destination being, okay, equals to this or whatever the thank you page is, and being able to see through like your analytics, like the funnel now, where it may drop off. So really easy to set up and creating a funnel. It says optional, but I should recommend if you are focused on retail or anything measuring the multi-step kind of process to understand where it dropped off. So the fun part, sure, can test with retail and e-commerce, setting up if you're utilizing e-commerce tracking, which is a little bit different than what we just went through with a destination. Won't go into too much detail, but this one does require a little bit more of a setup with actual putting in a little bit more snippet of code, JavaScript on, say, a button, right? If something pops up, you want to create a kind of a unique experience where I don't want them to have to go through another page, right? I just want the process to click, done, have a little pop-up window come up. This is where you would actually set up that kind of enable e-commerce tracking. And that's it. Yeah. So one thing I did also want to provide Google resources wise, right? Maybe analytics is a starting off point, but you do feel you want other support as well. We also have an awesome program to Google Cloud, right? So I'm sure everyone's familiar with Amazon Web Services, Cloud, and whatnot. If you are a local founder and are interested in getting started with Cloud, we're actually offering, and I'll share this with everyone afterwards, free credits to actually utilize Cloud. And so we kind of, I don't work on the Cloud team. I've been partnered with the Cloud team for how we can provide more credits because, to be honest, Amazon is very good about getting out in front of a lot of local founders earlier on, and they do offer a great service. But if you are just interested in getting started, you can provide up to 3,000 Google Cloud credits. As you start to see your business growing, you might find yourself moving into different stages, right? Your business, your infrastructure, you need a lot more support there. You'll find that we actually offer all the way up to 100,000 Google Cloud credits, which is pretty amazing. I work on the AdWords/advertising end, and most credits I've ever heard of giving is maybe $500 in credits, which
Of AdWords.
and of
right?
AdWords
Google
credits.
Ads.
Yes. So this is pretty much unprecedented, I would say.
Are there qualification criteria for this? Like you've
Yeah.
just recently incorporated, or you're scaling at a certain rate? Those kinds
Yeah.
of things.
I know. So one thing I'll follow up to is we
Okay.
do have an application.
Got it.
So if our cloud team is also created, it says, hey, what stage do you fall under? You definitely do fall under a stage, right? If you are interested in, or you do have a site and whatnot. And then kind of walking you through the other steps to get to, okay, we are moving into that $20,000 stage or that surge stage even. And similar to my team, that also brings different support for cloud. Does anyone use cloud or Amazon or? Okay, awesome.
Nice.
Okay.
AWS.
AW, there we go. Yeah, that's good. No, that's, believe me, 9 times out of 10 I can AWS. So, yeah, but I would say even that, like I said, I volunteer my time just for trying to provide more tutorials around like analytics, tiny new taking on advertising. I would say cloud. I know we've met at events.
Mhm.
They host a lot of local events within the LA area, whether it's really startup related. So if you are interested in hiring, like, oh, we want to hire a technological officer, technology officer, we host a lot of really cool events through the cloud side on, if you're looking to expand your team or you're interested in going to market, product market fit, hosts a lot of events. I can definitely forward more for the group. We'll have to make a little bit of trek out to Venice or Playa Vista
It's
because
a very cool trip, though.
it's a great
Very
trip.
great
And
facility.
yeah, the space, like I said, I work at a Playa Vista, but the Venice spot is, you're right next to the beach. When I work out of that office, I see engineers coming up from the beach every day and their bodysuit and their surfboard. So it's got that kind of feel a little bit. But I can't stress enough along with, utilizing free resources. Like, as you're just getting started, like I wouldn't even, like I said, let's not even talk AdWords. If you want to have a session like that, we can, but just take as much as you can organically and free and utilize these types of services are just going to be super helpful. Even if it's just information gathering, down the line, you do envision yourself using, not just AWS or using AWS, like these are complementary services from cloud. Along with analytics, you utilize a lot of different platforms, streaming tests, like we get views from everything. So we'll definitely leave with that.
What's Hire and Quick Labs? I haven't heard of those before.
So that's a
Putting you on the spot. Sorry.
no, I know. I wish I have a lot of cloud folks that I wish I would direct line right.
Okay, never mind.
No, it's
Like call a friend.
yes, I wish I could. Yeah, so Quick Labs, G Suite or upgrade discounts.
That one.
That would, yeah. So I would phone you right now for
Yeah.
for info there.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, and like I mentioned, startup support. Like I mentioned, I'm super passionate about working with startups and founders down here. Don't mind me, I live and breathe in the advertising world, so I'm always kind of speaking that language. But startups and our program, you're more than eligible to attend local workshops, local events, hear from other founders. That's something I've really come to discover, just hearing a founder story. Maybe they are just getting started or they're a fast growing brand that is going to market. You can really hear any type of story from, right, depending on what stage you're in. Doing like online training courses, just going to even one-on-one sessions with our cloud team. I'm volunteering at a separate event next Monday through our Mentor Day, partnering with LA Children's Hospital through their innovation studio on mentoring a few different startups on user acquisition. So this is definitely top of mind for me right now. But like I said, like if you're interested in going through an incubator, I'm not sure Santa Clarita, are there any, or is that
There's
in
a
the works?
city-run incubator, and there are many other activities in the works, but
Yeah.
there are different semi-local sort of LA area incubators that also we could be pointing people to, like
Yeah.
Techstars LA is opening applications right now. I think Startup Boost will have another
Yep.
cohort coming soon. So Techstars, no, actually Techstars LA just closed their,
think Startup
just picked those, but
Yeah.
Techstars Anywhere is another opportunity where you don't have to be resident in a particular city, so we can connect you to those applications.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if this is still going on, but I know my dad did Goldman Sachs 10K small businesses.
Oh,
That's a
That was
good
similar thing,
resource.
and then they do the ICCC inner city capital connections. That's one for like startups and getting capital funding. I went to the seminar. It was a day long thing.
Yeah.
A bunch of finance experts and business experts talk, and then you'd sit with our banks, lenders, whoever would be you might want to get funding for. But we didn't go for any funding or anything, but it's
Yeah.
just informational and good to learn. But if
So-
you want to email me, I can send you all the info and people.
Sounds good. Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I know there's cool firms that offer like financial accounting services as well through like events or kind of mentoring too. They're in LA right now. It's so interesting. Like I mentioned, I came from the Bay Area, and a lot of it's already established, right? Oh, we have Y Combinator, we have Techstars, we have all these different incubators, accelerators, but down here, it's really getting built out quickly. And, you know, speaking for just LA in general, but I'm sure San Diego is going through its own transformation too.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I mentioned, like, y'all are more than welcome if you're ever in the area and want to talk more about analytics. I know probably move through this pretty quickly, so I'm always happy to go through specific. Hey, I do have analytics. I'd love to go a little bit deeper. I love volunteering my time.
Cool.
It's just the way I born and raised, and
Nice.
you know,
Good parents.
yes. Yeah. But this is a little bit more of an overview for just our Google Startup program. Again, this is more under the cloud umbrella. If you are doing or using AWS and are interested in utilizing cloud as well, or just want to find out more information, like I said, I'll have a lot more to share here. This is kind of an overview. It's funny, as I was putting everything together, I was getting personally excited, just like, oh my God, I think maybe I should start a business right now. Just because there are some programs right now on the cloud side, whether it's related to Firebase, which I'm not as familiar with, but I think Maps, even Google Play Store, different accelerator programs. There's some great ones like Google Startup Boost. I've met a lot of cool startups that way. And then there's also great communities too. So if you are running into a challenge and you do want to, you know, find out from other local founders, has anyone else seen this or going through this? There's a lot of really cool communities too online that you can utilize. And then also, I mean, ultimately, if we get you to that support or the different solutions, you can get kind of more customized support there. Actually have direct partnership support as well.
Cool.
And it's just my contact info. Like I said, I'm hoping that it's helpful along with the reports. If you are interested in doing like advertising, there's demand for an AdWords session.
Yes.
That one, more than happy to pull up my demo or dummy account, go through that too. Like, what's a keyword? How do I bid? All that fun stuff. Yeah.
Starting early.
Yes, start early. Yes. Hey, if you're a disruptor and you're creating, a new market, probably bid and pay like 5 cents per click. But yeah, it's you see so many different businesses every day. So, any questions? Anything? Oh yeah.
I wanted to comment on your click for 5 cents.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of industries, and like if I wasn't doing this, I'd just go start an SEO company and market the hell out of myself.
Yeah.
Because so many companies don't realize that there's such an online market for things. When you go look up your like most popular product, there's like 10,000 searches and like 3 relevant searches are the top 3. You're like, okay, obviously these are the only people doing something about it.
Yeah.
So like I've been able to take ranks for products where there's pretty high ticket items, and I'll get page 1 within like 2 or 3 days. I just got like 3 rich cards in the last like 2 weeks. high ticket items, things like that. So
Yeah.
look at your competitors and what they're doing, and then beat them to their own game. So that's another thing I like with Google is everybody has a fair playing field as long as whoever's on top is doing the best job. So that's what Google seems to go on.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I mean, again, I covered it a little bit, but it's all about the user experience, right? Customer experience. How quickly your site loads is one thing, but also are you providing a relevant experience, right? Are you someone searching for something and you're advertising something completely different, right? That's not a good experience. So I would say just during my whole time at Google, which mind you is only 6 years, but that really at the end of the day is what influences things like your quality, right? Like how are you appearing in the auction? How are you ranking? That's really what it comes down to. Sometimes folks are like, oh, but if I'm willing to, yes, you can bid more, right? You can pay, someone's bidding against me $1, I'm going to go up to, I'm going to go up to $10, right?
But you're saying organic too, right? Just because
Oh
you're.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've never spent $1 on that. I've
Yeah.
only done all SEO. Like I follow like Neil Patel, Brian Dean, all that whole circle of guys, and I'd rather spend an hour of my time and learn something that's going to pay for years to come instead of spending $20. No offense to Google, spending $20 on AdWords. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I made $40. It's like, no, that time is going to make me $4,000 over the next 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
So
And believe me, I wish I could record that because that's what I wish I could tell my partners. Cause
I'll record it again. So.
yeah.
Right.
No,
We're
but
actually
you're right.
recording it,
I mean,
so.
because I would want to, I wish I could, I stress that to my partners, but like, hey, if you're not ready to do that, right? Or if there's other means, you skipped all the way ahead to the end and now you didn't even have kind of that roadmap set up, right? Whether it's organic, then what are we doing, right?
Yeah, AdWords is my next project, so I'm not knocking it by any means. Like,
No,
I'm
no.
getting ready for it, but yeah, there's a lot to do before that.
I know. I mean, we covered in an hour just very basic level stuff. I mean, analytics is its own game, right? Its own can be daunting too. Like, have the fundamentals set up first, then move on to certain things. Like I said, like I could tell my partners, I wish I could get a time machine and tell them, hey, don't skip ahead to just acquisition now. Like, yes, you do need a foundation of strategy there, but really focus on organic, free types of services like this. You're going to just be so much better off, right? And startups, hey, you get a lot of funding. That's great. You're growing like crazy here, but over time, if the money starts to run out and you don't have that strategy set up, I mean, you're, unfortunately, you're sorry about it. Yep.
Two things.
Yeah.
First, I think it'd be really cool if you got on the computer and then you could like click around and field questions that
Yeah,
way
yeah.
if there are any. And then my actual question is, there's a lot of spam in Google Analytics that pops up. What is Google doing about that spam filtering, like clicks that are from bots or from Russia or whatever? What's
Yeah.
Google doing about that? And then how can we filter all of that out and stay on top of it?
Yeah, and I would say in that part, so one, happy to go into a kind of a demo account and kind of click through, hey, there are some lingering questions there. To that, I know, and this might be more related to the more in the AdWords side, but I know, I'm sure to Plus Analytics is like actually filtering out through more automated kind of ways to just filter that out immediately, right? So you mentioned clicks. If you are directly, say, like, again, this is an advertising example, accrediting you back for any kind of like unnecessary. I don't hear, I'll be honest, I don't hear as much on the bot side as much anymore. That was a while back, but I don't know. I mean, I may not.
Well, there's always a suspicion, I think, but
Uh-huh.
in analytics itself, is that part of why you would segment the different views and
Yeah.
filter out this rogue traffic?
Yeah. So, and I think, do you normally set up different views or?
Yeah, I segment.
Cool.
I've got a spam filtered out view.
Yeah.
Everything goes, and I can compare the two. But the list, I have to continuously update them
Okay.
all the time, and it can, sometimes it gets pretty tedious. And even with
Yeah.
everything that I've put in there to filter out, I can still see quite a bit that shows up.
Interesting. And have you seen that like grow over time, the spam kind of unnecessary, right? Like traffic come through?
Seems pretty consistent.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. I would love to hear more. You have, yeah.
I dealt with that actually like maybe 3 months ago. I got a bunch of accounts, making accounts on my website.
Yeah.
Like user accounts. And they were all coming, it was like all .ru email address from Russia. So I did a CAPTCHA for my account creation thing. And then I went to my web designer, I guess, I had him block Russia. I had him block parts of China, like where they're basically copying our manufacturing patterns and things like that.
Yeah.
As well as in our industry, the kind of junk products are made in Pakistan because there's not a lot of regulation to bring it off cheap. So we also block Pakistan from viewing our website. So they're not taking our images, they're not taking our patterns, things like that. They can still get it with like a VPN, but at least blocking those. I saw at first I was like scared. I'm like, no, all my traffic's gone. And I'm like, no, but it wasn't real traffic. It was the bots or someone trying to hack into our site, things like that. So I don't know, maybe your web design guy can do that, or web master. I don't know what the right term is, but that's all I
I
got
think
around.
we should bring back webmaster. I just miss that term so much. I
That's
haven't heard it in
what's
so
important.
long.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Great.
I was gonna say, we have few different sites, and like for us, like my company site, I'll see, on an average week, I'll see, 100 people at the site. Then all of a sudden, it'll sort of be in Google Analytics, it'll sort of have the normal traffic flow that it does. And then to your point, like all of a sudden we'll see like 2 days where we'll have like 50,000 people hit the site in a 2-day window, which I know is 100% fake.
Yeah.
Because if we seriously had that type of volume, like, yeah. And so, but if you go look at the traffic and you go look at the referral source would be hirexyz.com SEO company.
Okay.
And so what it is these, typically it's Indian or it's another country SEO company that comes to your site, runs a script that loads your site 1 million times, and sets the referral source as that, and just gunks up the heck out of our Google Analytics account, our CRM starts going nuts,
What a great
our
marketing
chatbot system it just destroys everything. I mean, and part of that is like there's not a ton at some point that Google can do. And so like you were talking about blocking specific things, we're using Cloudflare as our DNS now, and we literally have just gone through and just started blocking countries we're having problems with. And we're to the point where it's like all of our clients are US based. It's like I can block pretty much every country, I don't care.
We just had that problem last week with a client. When we looked at it, it was coming from Google. I looked at it, it's Mountain View. And like, it's literally Google URL site. So these hackers or whatever would clearly put some bots and some sort of free service and they're posting them on Google.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're using the
So I can
Google
block
Cloud
Yeah.
service to hit.
We're using some sort of free thing. So all of a sudden, I know it's what it was. And so we're going to have to use a Cloudflare.
Yeah, and Cloudflare will also help like user login stuff. All of a sudden, it seems like a crazy weird influx of people trying to throw spam data in a contact form or something. It helps with some of that. Yeah, really good.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm also like this. I wish I had my notepad because I.
Oh, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
I've got
yeah.
screenshots and other things if you want. So I can email them to you if you want to. If you can get them to the right people at Google, I
Yeah.
gladly provide that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, like this is all new for me, right? But I want to provide this feedback too because it's interesting. So I don't have a lot of partners that have run into that, and it's scary. Like to your point, you're seeing like huge spikes in here. I guess.
Well, and the reason they'll do the huge spike is like typically Google Analytics will send out an automated email if you see a new, like all of a sudden your conversion rate on average on the landing page is 3%, all of a sudden it jumps to 50%. Google Analytics by default, if you get a big jump like that, actually send the printed email and says, "Yay, congrats, you got this big new, you hit this big new record."
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, you got 8,000 visitors to website yesterday." And,
Yeah. No. That's
and that's why they're doing it, because they're getting some sort of a notice when you go in there.
got it.
Yeah.
So it's not just Facebook that's running it.
No, sure.
Yeah. No.
No, they're all over the place.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is my contact info. If you do have follow-up questions or again, you want to dive a little deeper, let me pull up my laptop. Can we
Sure. That maybe. Yes.
Okay. If you want, I'm more than happy to schedule a separate time too to go through things. You know what, that might be easier. And yeah.
I know there are people in here that have never even used Google Analytics,
Yeah.
so I think showing them.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
What do
we
you
can try it.
Okay.
I do have the HTML.
Tony, do these fans come on?
That's fine.
Okay. We tell people about that. Here we go.
That's all we're gonna do. We're outside. Do they provide that?
They do. Right, we're starting to show. There was a while, a couple years ago. That one, but.
Funny thing is, I can see fans.
Oh.
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, they all are.
It is, yeah.
That's okay, that feels good. The wind in my hair. Kids are out of school. Yeah, I get the updates. I just gotta get out. Actually, we should. So yeah, it's kind of hungry. Good. It's still kind of. We're still producing a lot of samples. Sure. Yeah, we get that all the time. I run out of it's definitely moving in that direction. How's the wood shop? It's constant class. You want to build Boston China and your website every day. You want so what they're hoping is that you're going to see, oh, it says it's higher XYZ SEO. So typically it's like higher your domain. And so
Okay, and if you're taking a take off that you want me to send you the slides and stuff, okay. Message me on the event, or you know how to reach me, most of you, or give me cards. I will send you.
website. And so, yeah, what I've seen, like want traffic like this. So it's like, oh, you could get traffic. What they're trying to do. Yeah. It's working apparently. What? It's all great day. Right. Yeah. from the year to.
Yeah.
Sorry.